Beautiful day for a cycle. Another day out on the bike, and I returned to one of my favourite runs along the gun emplacements down to the quayside. It had been raining quite heavily for the past few days, so the ground is extremely wet and the earth has become extremely greasy and slippy, making it particularly difficult for me to cycle. On my last outing with Patterson, I followed his line down to the quayside. He picked a really direct route, went over the bumps and rocky outcrops at the top of the hill, and I knew that was a better line to take, but for some reason today I didn't. In fact, I even ended up cycling directly into this bush. I quite often find that I need a good bit of warm up just to get back into the feeling of riding the bike again. And today, especially with these conditions, it was a day I really needed that warm up. Slippy today. Really slippy. Next, I decided to session berms again. That's alright, but quite slow. Line. I've been sessioning berms at the end of my outing with Patterson, and I felt that I was making some progress. Patterson had advised me to go high up on the outside of the berm and then cut in, and do it vice versa as you're going in and out of the berms. He also advised that when you're coming up to the top of the crest of the berm, dip your shoulder and then lean into the berm so it brings you around more smoothly and naturally. This is the theory. I understand the theory, but trying to put it into practice is a very different thing. I've read somewhere that in order to become an expert you have to do 10,000 hours worth of practice. Well, I'm sitting at probably about 9,999 hours shy of that. A long way to go. This is a segment called the gas tub. It's part of a larger trail that runs from the top of the hill called G-bomb. The top segment from the top of the hill down to the road is called Suntory time. Today's conditions are really challenging. The mud is so greasy and slippery that I was having real difficulty, especially when trying to corner it. The wheels would just slip out and I didn't seem to have enough traction. I'm not entirely sure that my tyres are really cut out for this. Of course, it has absolutely nothing to do with the skill of the rider. It's all the tyres' fault. My tyres are up to that. Cool. Another shot going down the gas tub. This time at the beginning I take the higher line through the trees, which turns, takes you on a more direct line down the hill. On the previous run I taking the lower line, which takes you over a really rooty section, which is a shallower run down the hill. I'm not sure which one I prefer. Probably the higher line edges it out for me. My tyres were slipping and sliding everywhere going around these berms, but luckily I managed to stay on and not crash off. Then I slip and slide my way all the way down the M1 line, avoiding the kickers, avoiding the jumps, basically trying to avoid all the obstacles. With one exception, the very last little kicker I rolled for the first time today, which I was quite chuffed about. Avoid that kicker, dodge that kicker, go nowhere near those jumps, or that jump. Today, instead of going down the series of berms that leads to the bomb hole jump at the end of the M1 line, I go down the big hill. The GoPro effect really flattens this out on this image, but it's actually quite a steep hill on the run up to the bomb hole jump, and you can really build up a lot of speed. But I'll give this little one a bash. Yeah, did it! Then on to the Loney's Wedge run again, which I had been practicing the other day. Will I go over the kicker? I nearly lost control going over that kicker, landing on the mushy wet leaves. I managed to hold on, but then nearly crashed into a small tree going round the corner. There was a log covered in leaves which I didn't see, and my wheel got caught on the wrong side of it. There are so many trails at Braefoot that cross over one another and link up together. I'm not sure what the name of this trail is called, but whatever it's called, I'm doing it very, very slowly. Then down to the series of berms that I'd been sessioning with Pattison on my last outing. I didn't come into it particularly well. I slipped a wee bit on the pine needles, but then I dipped my shoulder into one of the corners and turned a lot better than I had before, so I was quite pleased with that. And on to a run called Justice. This is a run on my previous bike. I took a big gouge of skin out of my leg when I crashed, just at these thorny bushes here. And as you can see, this links back up onto those same series of berms that I'd been sessioning with Pattison. I didn't feel that I navigated them that well this time. and then back to finish my outing with another run down over the gun emplacements down to the pier quayside run. I went over this little kicker for the first time today, which I was quite pleased about. But again, I chose the wrong line and ended up crashing into this bush even worse this time. Some days, you're just not on it. And today was one of those days. But there's always next time. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down and feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.